you're able to even begin to register your company when you're in Pakistan. You don't need to visit Uganda. Investors are worried. They said, you want me to put all that 250,000 in the bank? And we say, no, we want it reflected in your business plan. Foreign investors are allowed 100% foreign owned company. That's acceptable. Even sole proprietorship is also
there's an option?
There's an option, yes. You can register a company as a sole proprietor.
Assalamu alaikum friends, and hello everybody. This is Karim again. I'm today at the Uganda Investment Authority and with Mrs. Sheila Mugyenzi, and she's the Investment Promotion and Business Director, Development Director over here. And I've asked her a few questions and about the people were really inquiring about, like how much is the investment we need for the investment license, and what type of businesses need those licenses and everything. So I said, why not she give it her own words and let you know from her directly that what are the businesses and type of business that require these things. So here I have Mrs. Sheila Mugyenzi.
Thank you very much, Karim. Doing business in Uganda is quite easy, and Uganda Investment, just to give you a little bit of what Uganda Investment Authority does, we are the country's investment promotion agency, and what we do is we give information on investment and help investors to implement their projects in the country. We do also advise government on policy enabling on investment enabling policies, so that the investment environment can be better for people to do business. When it comes to setting up business in Uganda, it is mandatory for foreign investors to be issued with an investment license from Uganda Investment Authority, and the minimum capital investment right now that is required in order for someone to be eligible for an investment license is $250,000 US. For domestic investors, it's lower, it's $50,000 US. And there are also other instances where foreign investors can joint venture with domestic investors and the threshold gets lower. In cases where there's a joint venture and both partners, foreign and domestic, are 50-50% shareholders, we regard that as a domestic investment. So we would license the company with a minimum capital investment threshold of $50,000 US. That said, Uganda Investment Authority licenses investments in manufacturing, investments in services, and the major sectors where we feel that investors would have high returns on investment are in areas like agro-processing, areas like tourism. You're a tourist, you've moved all over Uganda, so you know that we have a gap in tourist accommodation. We have the very high end and we have the very low end, but we lack the middle. So really, we would like investment in that area. Adding value to minerals is another one, ICT is another one, and all the service sectors like education, specialized education, health, all those are sectors that one can invest in. We do get interest from foreign business people who say, I also want to invest in trade, in the import and distribution business. Those are also welcome, but they need to be involved in a certain magnitude of trade. Right. They need to be ready to put in an amount currently of $100,000 US, but even that threshold is under discussion right now, because there's a discussion to increase the threshold, because quite a number of domestic investors have been able to do that kind of business with that kind of money. So Uganda is an open economy and welcomes foreign investors to invest in really any sector. And when I talk about thresholds, sometimes investors are worried. They said, you want me to put all that 250,000 in the bank? And we say, no, we want it reflected in your business plan. We want to see the 250,000 reflected in your operating capital, in your assets. Have you bought land? And we expect you to invest this amount of money in a period of 3 years, not really all of it at one go. So you ask, how will you know that I've invested that amount of money? When we are vetting you, licensing you, we'll usually ask for you to first incorporate a company in the country. After getting a certificate of incorporation, then you apply to Uganda Investment Authority for a license. And when you've applied for that license, we would want to see the certificate of incorporation. We would want to see a proof of funding to know that you're able to do the project. So we usually ask for a bank statement. It usually shows us whether you have the financial muscle.
Correct.
Or we ask for a letter of undertaking from a bank. That will show us that probably, yeah, you have the money to put in. And on the basis of all those other documentations, we will license the business. We do issue a license. It takes only about 48 hours if all the documentation is in order. Incorporating a company, just setting up a legal entity to do business, takes less. It takes a day to incorporate a company. If an investment requires other regulatory licenses, it may take longer than the 48 hours that I've said. If it's in energy, for instance, there are some sectors that are regulated that may require a ministry to give approval, like energy, education, or an entity like the National Drug Authority if you want to do pharmaceuticals. So there are about 6 areas that require regulation. That is when an issuing of a license may take longer. But ordinarily, if it's just a straightforward business, it should take only about 48 hours to issue a license. But what's interesting to note for your audience, Karim, is that Uganda Investment Authority is a one-stop center where we have about 12 agencies that government has put together under one roof, our roof, to facilitate businesses to start faster. So you don't need to go running from office to office. Everything can be done here at the Uganda Investment Authority. And we've also put all those services online. So you're able to even begin to register your company when you're in Pakistan. You don't need to visit Uganda. So you can check on the eBiz portal, which is www.ebiz, eBiz is ebiz.go.ug, and a number of services will be on that portal, and I think there are about 7 live services so far. Of course, it's work in progress. If there are some things that don't work, you get back to us and say this hasn't worked. But really, you can begin the process of registering for a business online. Yes. Maybe your audience would be interested to know, how does one enter into the country? One, foreign investors are allowed 100% foreign-owned company. That's acceptable. You're free to do that. And you can also get a local partner and form a joint venture company. And even if you have a company that's 100% fully owned, you're free to be a number of directors or shareholders. So you can get together 3, 4 of you, put your capital together and invest together. So 100% fully owned, joint ventures, even sole proprietorship is also
there's an option?
There's an option, yes. You can register a company as a sole proprietor, and depending on the business, if it does get to the threshold that's eligible for a license, we can issue that business with an investment license. And when it comes to the sectors of business that foreign investors are allowed to invest in the country, Uganda is an open economy. You're allowed to invest in any sector, so long as it's not in the making of firearms. You'd need special permission for that, but all the other sectors are open for investment. Happy to say, including large-scale agriculture, because in the past, production of agriculture was mainly left in the hands of domestic sector so that foreign investor can come in just to add value. But now, because we've realized that when investors come, we've not been able to get to the volumes that are required. So the space, government has opened up that space and has said if foreign investors can come in to do large-scale commercial agriculture, because we know it comes in with new technologies, it comes in with, you know, all sorts of things that will increase production. So that space is opened up, and we are seeing a number of investors come in, because we know that when they come in, they will also, and government is encouraging the model where someone comes to have a nucleus farm and then supports outgrowers to also support the factory.
Right.
So large-scale agriculture ordinarily should come with processing.
Okay.
Yeah, not just large-scale agriculture for raw export.
Right.
Where government is trying to promote export-oriented industry, and there are generous incentives in that sector. If one can come for export-oriented industry, there are a number of incentives as well. So basically, that is a snapshot of investing in Uganda. And Karim, thank you very much for the opportunity, because it's not every time that we get it to speak to different audiences. But you're very welcome. If you need any other information, I'm here.
Thank you so much.
And we just want to say from Uganda Investment Authority, whoever is watching, you're very welcome to come and invest in Uganda.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Sheila Mugyenzi, for your time and for the information, the valuable information that we added for the viewers in Pakistan, India, wherever they are. Thank you so much for your time, everybody. Hope to see you in the next video with more information on my channel. Stay blessed. Peace.